Well, going through Intimidators to Trick Room, I came across Hitmontop again, and my friend had been using him. And he's a terrible choice compared to Scrafty for two reasons. First, he's just a fighting type. He has no psychic type immunity that Scrafty does. And second, he does not have Taunt that Scrafty does. And Taunt is often underutilized by Scrafty, and I don't understand why, because four big problems for Trick Room, and the Rotom is more or less just a problem for Scrafty itself, since if it Will-O-Wisp Scrafty, your attack is down. Like you have no damage output whatsoever then. But Aegislash is able to be defeated by Scrafty easily, and people always run min speed just for being Trick Room to begin with, but outside of Trick Room it lets you attack Aegislash last, so you hit it as it's in its blade form. But instead of having to deal with the 50-50s, which would have your attack just like Will-O-Wisp would, which means Scrafty's down and out until you swap him, you can just taunt Aegislash and compromise it then. Aegislash that's taunted under Trick Room with your slower attackers like Scrafty just ain't gonna cut it, especially if you block with your other partner that he could be targeting, such as Gardevoir. He's able to soak up a Spore with his Lumberry and then taunt Amoonguss, which puts Amoonguss out since his Giga Drain is really weak and only hurts things like, I don't know, Swampert. Its damage is awful. And it can taunt Cresselia, which stops Cress from setting up Trick Room again. It can stop it from taking your abilities, things like Skill Swap. It can stop it from setting up screens to hurt your damage output. And like Knockoff isn't gonna hurt this thing to begin with. You know, you'll get your good chunk of damage, but they can just Moonlight the rest off and just take the hits, especially if they have Intimidate support. Scrafty's really vulnerable to having its attack lowered, so finding ways to stop that with Taunt between these two is really important. The only thing that Hitmontop has going for it is close combat for damage output, but that's not meaningful on a defensive role. And more importantly, Scrafty can heal itself with Drain Punch anyways. It has Wide Guard, which is situationally useful. It doesn't have as high of a yield as Taunt does, since Taunt works on every team and Wide Guard only works on some. Feint is a keeper though, but it's not really worth having. Like, it's got some yield to it, but it's just not enough to make the cut. So don't use him on top. I don't think he's really a good Pokemon to begin with, and he's certainly not a better option than Scrafty, even if he might have some cool looking tech options. Scrafty's always going to have higher yield, and that's why he's the like #1 choice for Intimidators and Trick Room.